Hi everyone and welcome back to StyleNovice in 2014. Happy New Year, and I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas and New Year's break. What better way to start a new year than to get organised? This easy sew hanging organiser will have a place for everything and all in its place in no time at all. To start, you'll need to pick out some fabric. Heavy cotton linen works well as it's strong, durable and can keep its shape. If you look closely at this picture, you'll see that this heavy cotton linen has noticeable weaved threads, and your shop assistant should be able to offer some help in finding it. Next, measure the area you're wanting to hang your organiser. Cut your fabric to size, allowing for seams, and iron. Along the long edges, the sides of your final product, fold and iron a seam allowance. 1 centimetre or the width of your sewing machine footer is enough, as it's just to create a tidy edge. You're going to need to make this large enough to place through a doweling rod or a heavy wooden piece that allows the organiser to hang and creates a weight at the bottom to keep the organiser taut. Have a think about what you might end up using and make allowances for this. Next, sew along these ironed edges, sewing the sides first before the top and bottom, because we're wanting to leave a space for the doweling rod to be added later. Using some scrap paper, play around with how many pockets you're wanting to create, how big you want them and how you're going to fit them on your backing piece. Be sure to arrange both up, down and across before pinning them down to be sure you won't run out of room. Make a careful note of your 2D pocket measurements. Draw this shape in the centre of a larger piece of paper. To create the entire pocket template, add to this original shape another half of its size onto each side. To this shape, add 1 centimetre seam allowance on each side. And finally, a 1 centimetre seam allowance on both the top and bottom of this shape. Cut to size and cut your fabric pieces, as many fabric pieces as you're needing pockets. Take your first fabric piece and along the top, long edge, measure your 1 centimetre seam allowance. Also be careful that if your fabric has a print that must sit in a certain direction like mine here, you're making sure that your fabric is the right way round. Iron this into place and sew. Iron 1 centimetre around the remaining 3 edges, but do not sew. Next, iron the side edges into the centre. And then fold these back in half and iron again. This is what you'll be looking at now, which is starting to look like a pocket. Remove one of your template pieces and pin your first fabric piece down. I found it easiest to start with the centre piece, as it seemed to keep everything centred and in place. Pin through all layers in the centre and bottom, and pin the side flap just onto the backing. Sew along the side edges, holding the top piece out of the way. And lastly, sew along the bottom edge through all layers. And you've created your first extendable pocket. Continue with the other pockets in the same way. Slide through your doweling or rail and use this to hang your organiser on hooks and to weigh the bottom of your organiser down, and you're complete. You now have your very own fabric hanging organiser to organise all your bits and pieces for 2014. Happy New Year, everyone!